Hey guys, it's Scott. I'm here at Fourth World Comics in Smithtown, New York, my LCS, and I got my coffee. It's early morning, store not open yet. The guys are all busy putting books out for you, so I won't interrupt them. But I wanted to say thank you so much for your response to the last craft video. I was really nervous doing it. I love doing this kind of stuff and talking about all the different techniques in writing, and I wasn't sure how you'd feel about it. So the fact that you seemed enthusiastic really made my whole month. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about narration, which is one of my absolute favorite techniques in writing. I have a tiny selfish plug before we start, which is American Vampire 1976 #9 is out this week. It's the second to last issue of our whole series. I love this one. I love this series. I love the team. So I hope you'll check it out. Nocterra 4 is out, about to sell out, and number 5 has its final orders on Monday. So if you order it now, it'll be guaranteed in the store. If you don't, you kind of have to take your luck in case it sells out like the other issues have been doing. But away from Scott's total self-promotional stuff and narration. So what I love about narration is that it has this incredible spectrum of effects. It can be used in so many different ways. Now, when I was growing up, I often thought of it as just, I do this, I do that, right? In this really simple way. But it has all of this whole array of uses, of effects. It's like a whole spectrum. There's 3 main categories, all right? There's first person, second person, and third person. First person is I do this, I do that. That's singular. Or we do this, we do that. That's plural, okay? So if it was a Batman story, it would be like Batman narrating to you, and it would be something like, I've solved thousands, Batman voice, right? And first thing in the morning. I've solved thousands of cases, but tonight will be my last. Batman dies here and now, right? And if it was plural, it would be like we've solved thousands of cases, so on. So you get the feeling. First person creates a sense of intimacy. It's a great tool because it pulls the reader right in. It drags them in, and it makes you feel like you're sitting there listening to someone, looking you in the eye, telling you a story. Second person is you. So it would be like, you've solved thousands of cases. It puts you in the role of Batman, right? You've solved thousands of cases, but tonight will be your last. Batman dies. So it's confrontational, it's combative. It's used rarely, but it can be a really great tool. I love using it. But you're constantly bristling against it as a reader because you're being told that you're doing things, that you're feeling things, that you're thinking things, that you're always saying, I'm not doing that. But it also, because it's so direct and so aggressive, it creates a really weird tension. Third person is really common, right? Third person has 2 categories, limited and omniscient. So limited is when you're listening to a story about somebody and you're in their head, but you're still outside of them. They're not talking to you directly. So it would be like, Batman has solved thousands of cases, but tonight will be his last. Batman dies here and now. Third person omniscient isn't used quite as much as it used to be in the old days, but it's almost like the authorial voice of God. It goes into every character's head. So it would be like, Batman has solved thousands of cases, but tonight will be his last. Here and now, Batman dies. Or so he thinks. The Joker has other plans. Cut to the Joker. So the effect of third person omniscient is it creates this kind of authorial grandeur, this majesty. You feel as though you're listening to someone who knows everything. And so, you go back and you look at old school stories like Len Wein and Jim Starlin and John Ostrander with this kind of cosmic scope sometimes, big events. They often do that, like, behold Thanos. I tried to use it a little bit in metal to create that effect, like there once was an age of metal, and so on. So all these different kinds of, this whole different kind of array of effects all within narration. Now, the beauty of narration in comics in particular, and what makes it so powerful, and it's really unique to comics, is that the narration is sitting over art, right? So you get 2 levels of storytelling. It's different than, it's similar sometimes in film, but in comics, even the fact that the art is static, it creates a space between what you're reading and what you're seeing. And in that space, in that relationship, is where all the meaning comes from, where all the effect exists. So you're always thinking about that. You always think about narration in relation to what you're seeing on the page. You never want to just kind of use it as an expositional tool, telling what you're already seeing. If you're doing it that way, it's unneeded. Don't use it. And by the way, like, not using narration is a whole set of different possibilities as well. We can talk about it another time. But with narration, again, I think the relationship to the art is what you really want to think about. So that same Batman story, right? If I said, you know, I've solved, what was it? I've solved thousands of cases, but tonight will be my, but this will be my last. Here and now, Batman dies. And over that art, with the art, if I put that over art that showed Batman preparing, right, taping up his fists in the cave, you know, getting ready, strapping on the bat suit, the cowl, that's a harmonious relationship. So it's cementing what I'm saying in a way without totally duplicating it. It gives you the sense of, he's saying, you know, tonight's this huge, important culmination of this case that clearly is like, you know, a watershed for Batman, and you're seeing him kind of physically prepare for that. If I did something totally different, right? If I put it over art that was him and all 13, 14, 15 members of the Bat family taking a picture, out of costume, celebrating something, and yet over that the narration talks about tonight is going to be his last mystery in Batman dying, his last case solved, then it creates a sense of dissonance. It creates a sense of mystery, of tension, and it pulls you in a different way, because as a reader you're like, how could this terrible thing be happening tonight when they seem so happy? So it's all about the effect you want to create. My goal as a teacher, when I do classes, honestly, isn't to sort of tell you what kind of story to write, isn't to tell you this is the right way to use a tool, that's the right way to use a tool, this is wrong, this is right. It's to show you the variety of effects a certain tool can have. So you look at your writer's tool wall, if you can think of it as that kind of thing, where you have all your different things from dialogue, narration, cliffhangers, openings, closings, sequential storytelling, metaphor, symbol, like all that. And you say, oh, I know how to use each one of these and the effect it will create. And everything is kind of a deliberate and confident choice about the effect you're going to create in that comic and on the reader. So that's my goal. That's all I wanted growing up. I you know, any chance I had to take a class with anyone that taught writing, I was there. I come from a family, I was the only person in the arts. And so everyone had very practical, pragmatic paths, you know, to become this or that. There was like to be a doctor, to be this, like there were levels. Become a writer, it's not as clear. And so my goal with this, again, is just to talk craft and be like, here's some of the things I've learned, take it or leave it, about all the different ways you can employ these different techniques to your advantage when you're telling a story. Now, so let's look at a couple ways. There's so many books I wanted to use with this. There are so many great examples of narration in indie books, creator-owned books going on right now. I'll talk about a few books I really love, but I thought I would use The Many Deaths of Laila Starr by Ram V. and Philip Andrade. I got to talk to Ram for the first time. We've communicated a lot in email and that stuff, but I got to talk to him via Zoom the other day and talk about the book and talk to him about what I was going to say. And he's such a passionate, thoughtful, brilliant writer. I hope you'll pick up all his work. He's doing incredible things on Swamp Thing, which is such a hard book to do in a way that honors the tradition of always trying new things, and he's just killing it. And also God Country, I thought I'd talk about a little bit. Donnie Cates, Jeff Shaw. Donnie is a friend. I can't say enough good things about everything he's done, from Baby Teeth all the way through Crossover and all his great Marvel work. So, all right, so because Laila Starr is actually sold out, I thought I'd use an iPad just to show you the beginning. All right, so it opens on here on Mumbai, and it's this big splash, this crowded city, right? So it's showing you the teeming kind of feeling of being right in an urban setting like this, and it says, it began on a Wednesday afternoon as a late December sun was just dipping below the Mumbai skyline, right? You go through, and it shows you this really, oops, sorry, I'm old, this really kind of every morning scene. It's traffic. This car is trying to get through. As it's going through, the guy's yelling at people like, let me through, let me through. It turns out his wife in the back seat is pregnant. And the narration is very calm, right? He pointed, each time drivers yelled at him for his dangerous driving, he pointed to volatile Mrs. Shaw in the back and said, the baby is coming. So you see she's pregnant, right? Then it cuts away. Totally different scene. It cuts away to a totally different scene. And it goes to a party that these art students are having for celebrating their graduation. And it focuses on a woman sitting in the window. Here we go. And, oops, I cut it. And it tells you about her, how she's not paying attention to this guy who's hitting on her. She's smoking. She's just kind of by herself. And then the thing I love about it goes from these two scenes that are just like driving in traffic, woman ignoring an annoying guy hitting on her at a party, to suddenly elevator in the sky, the god of death, visiting with the head of all gods to find out what this kind of bureaucratic business meeting is. And what she finds out, the book is amazing, what she finds out is that a baby is being born on Earth that will essentially make her job unneeded, and so she's being fired, the god of death, and she's being sent down to Earth to live a mortal life. So anyway, so that narration, that sense of, it's using third person omniscient, it's going into the different characters, and it's what it does is it transforms what would be a really everyday sequence of things into a kind of majestic feeling of divine mystery. Something is happening that's so big and amazing that we have to keep reading. It just pulls you in. It has this great effect. So God Country, fantastic book. It's about a family patriarch in the South who has Alzheimer's and is going downhill, and his whole family doesn't know what to do. His son doesn't know what to do about it. And what they discover, and he keeps claiming, is that he's a god. He's like, he used to be a god. And obviously they think this is a delusion until a tornado happens, monsters attack, and they realize that it is in fact true. So great book again. I can't say enough good things about it. It opens, right? It has this Cormac McCarthy quote. Now all of a sudden you get this huge double-page splash, right? And it's cosmic. You get this and this and this, and it creates this sense of this universal canvas, right? This huge galactic sort of stage that everything's happened on. And the narration says, it's first person here. This here story has been passed down in my family for generations now. Mostly true, far as I can say. Wasn't there for none of it though, so don't make me swear on nothing. I'll tell it best I can remember. The way it was told to me goes like this. And then it cuts to a long time ago in West Texas. So, which I love. Like, so God Country is instead of, while Laila Starr shows a pedestrian set of scenes, but uses narration, third person omniscient, to raise it up and elevate it and make you understand that it's sort of weaving together these events to show you this tapestry of godly intervention in different ways, this epic behind the scenes. God Country is starting with something that's visually epic, right? The stars, the space, the galaxy, and the narration says it's really sounds like a very particular voice. It's someone who has an accent, who it feels like you're on a porch listening to them, and it pulls you right in. So it creates a contrast the opposite way. It takes the cosmic and makes it relatable, makes it personal, makes it immediate. So they're just in the narration and its relationship to the art. These books are almost doing opposite things, both to incredible effect. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry that I'm such a old fogey when it comes to using technology, but just the tip of the iceberg with narration. I'd love to do another video about it, show you different examples of. Anyway, a couple other books I really wanted to point out this week. Hollow Heart. This book is so good. I really love what Paul has done in the past, and it's the team from TET. It's Paul Aller, Paul Tucker. It's a story about a guy who's reborn as a kind of basically a set of organs in this robot, and the mechanic that starts fixing him and the relationship that forms between them. It's this like horror story that has a real heart. I can't not say something about one of my best buddies. Amazing book, Sweet Tooth. It's on Netflix right now. So happy for Jeff. It's, we came in at the same time. He was doing this when I started American Vampire. It's so amazing to see something great made out of such a great series. Sorry it's a little rushed. I don't want to keep them waiting. The store's about to open, but I'm going to mention more books next week, and thank you guys so much. I'll get better as I go, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So thanks again. Fourth World Comics, come by, get your books. Amazing shop, Smithtown, New York.